the Great British Manufacturing Podcast, brought to you by MTD, MFG and Jefferson.
Hello and welcome to the Great British Manufacturing Podcast. On this week's show, we will review the latest positive news from the British manufacturing sector and welcome a special guest. Hermann Schweizer, CTO and Director of Faradion, the world leader in sodium-ion battery technology. My name is Joe Reynolds, and joining me is my co-host, Stuart Whitehead. Stuart, welcome.
Morning, Joe. Bumper week this time, so yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, plenty to go through. Let's jump straight in at the deep end, I guess. I've seen this building. It's absolutely stunning. The new Aston Martin building. That's a new Formula One facility.
Yeah, they've broken ground on it. It's a £200 million investment, maybe even more, in Northamptonshire. The 400,000 square foot campus, which will be built opposite the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, marks the start of an 18-month construction and installation phase for the new headquarters for the British Marks Formula One team. This is the first all-new dedicated F1 factory in the UK for 17 years, the most recent being McLaren's in Woking, which was officially opened in 2004. And this new 3-unit factory will house the team's design, manufacturing and marketing resources. A second will be occupied by a brand new wind tunnel, which is going to be integral to the success of the team. And the third will be a redevelopment and repurposing of an existing factory, which will become its a central logistics hub.
And we've talked about aerospace a fair bit recently, considering they're having challenging times. And there's a new innovation centre open in Scotland, isn't it? What do you know about this one?
Yeah, breaking story, really. So American-owned Spirit AeroSystems, which is the world's largest first-tier aerostructures manufacturer, has officially opened its new £28 million aerospace innovation centre in Prestwick. New, more efficient approaches to the design and manufacture of aerostructures, such as wings using lightweight composite material technology to reduce flight emissions and lower costs, will be explored and developed at the 90,000 square foot facility.
In a short while, we're going to talk about, battery technology. So that this story kind of ties in, really. Electric car maker Polestar expanding here in the UK.
Yeah, great news. The Swedish manufacturer is growing its global engineering capability with the expansion of its R&D centre, the Myra Technology Park in Warwickshire. In the last year, the now 250-strong UK team has more than doubled in size, and this will continue to expand, probably beyond 500 people in the future. The UK R&D team will play a crucial role in the brand's continued evolution and will immediately focus on the development of the Polestar preset, which was first revealed last year and is now confirmed for production before 2025.
And we can't do a podcast without mentioning the North East, can we? Siemens are expanding its the blade manufacturing facility in Hull. Yeah,
a story we've covered before. It's just developed. So Siemens has awarded Volker Fitzpatrick £82 million contract, which is part of a wider £186 million investment to build 2 new wind turbine blade factories and repurpose an existing production facility at site in Hull. Once complete, the new facilities will enable the firm to produce larger blades with greater efficiency. And this huge investment will more than double capacity and create hundreds of new jobs in the region.
So we've done F1, done a bit of automotive, bit of aerospace, bit of power gen. They've got a positive food production story as well, a £300 million investment, no less.
Yeah, this is in Derby. The new Smart Park campus, which will be developed by Segro, will feature food manufacturing facilities ranging from startup incubation units through to large-scale factories. A new food manufacturing technology centre of excellence will be built at the site to future-proof the industry. And in total, the £300 million complex is expected to create 5,000 jobs, which is great news for the East Midlands.
Okay, we'll take a short pause there from this week's positive UK manufacturing news and introduce this week's special guest. It's Hermann Schweizer, CTO and Director of Faradion, the world leader in sodium-ion battery technology. Hermann, a very warm welcome to the podcast and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Just to start with, our audience, we always like to learn a bit about the people, not just the company. So maybe you can start by telling us your career to date, your current role and your responsibilities, please.
Oh, yes, of course. Though I'm quite a while now in the battery industry, have worked a lot in the energy storage sector just recently before I joined Faradion this year. So mainly responsible to bring to the market, to bring to the application around 800 to 900 megawatt hour of battery technology. That is where I come from. I'm an enthusiastic person when it comes to renewables. So I really also, from my background, I love this stuff, and I also take it home to my home. So running a solar system, running an energy storage system, having an electrical vehicle, all these kind of things is really what I am for. And the goal there is, what drives me is, let's make a world which less out of CO2 for the future. And actually, when I moved into this field, my 15-year-old daughter told me, "Hey, Daddy, that is your first meaningful job you are doing now." And that was about 8 years ago. So yes, that is why I'm here, try to have a job, to do things which help us for the future of the planet.
Sure, and you're well put by your daughter as well. But yeah, and now can we have an overview of the business, please?
Oh, yes. When it comes to Faradion business side, so we are really here, and my role especially here is driving the company to productize the technology. So understanding that Faradion has developed the sodium-ion technology, which we will talk later about, over the last 10 years. So there were great people here in Oxford and Sheffield coming together with the dedication to make sodium-ion happen. Today we are really at a stage where we can have products and bring it to different various applications. That is where I come in. So coming in and seeing the match of the technology to different products out there. If it's on the energy storage side, if it's for telecom application, if it's for mobility applications. That is what I'm driving with my role here within Faradion. Look out to the next opportunities to bring the technology into really to the customers.
Fascinating to hear about your background in the company, and love your enthusiasm, Hermann. Looking at the wider picture, how can the UK become a leader in battery technology?
Oh, that is good. I think especially having the sodium ion, we know that the UK has done a lot of work in the past already on this field. So developing technology is just great here in the UK. Yeah, having really done early stage work on lithium ion as well. So the same happened now with the sodium ion. Though I think every ingredient is ready here from the UK side to be the major player in this one. Of course, it needs also to go into the next step, as Faradion is doing now. Productize the technology, yes, keep it here, make the best out of it here, going into the several applications, work together with the people here, bring the people to the UK and bring them to the battery technology. That is how the UK should look forward and is looking forward actually to do it. Of course, we have if you look into the UK of today, having the Nissan facility up in Sunderland, this is probably one of the biggest running lithium-ion battery manufacturing lines in Europe at the moment. So it's not that there was nothing in the past. There is still a good environment. Looking into the Midlands, where we have a lot of activities from the UK side when it comes to battery technology. Great stuff there, meeting all of these people going into it, creating an environment. That is how UK can stay ahead when it comes to battery technology, but not only on the technology, also on battery production.
Okay, that makes sense, and good to hear the UK is at the forefront of that. On the technical side, to explain to our listeners, how is sodium ion different from lithium ion, which is the predominant technology in our phones, laptop, cars, energy storage?
Yeah, it's obviously, there is a short answer. The name tells it you. We have exchanged the lithium with sodium. That is mainly what we did. But now going more deeper into it, the sodium ion technology was already known back in the 80s and 90s when the people were working in lithium ion as well, and where they did the groundwork for lithium ion. In the same time, they built sodium ion batteries in the same way, same principle behind. Sodium ion was mainly lacking the capability to achieve the energy density with lithium was able to achieve. And that brought the people at this time to focus more on the lithium space. That was the main differentiator. Faradion started, the founders of Faradion started in 2011 with the approach to overcome this disadvantage, to work hard on it, to find the right combination for sodium-ion batteries, which will catch up with the performance of lithium. So I went through thousands of different combinations. So it's not only that you go there and you pick it. No, it's really a hard work, which they delivered here. Jerry and Chris and a couple of other people from our company went into it and figured out what is the right material combination to bring sodium ion to the next level, to overcome the disadvantage which was in the sodium field. Because on the other hand, everybody was well aware that sodium, which is part of table salt, for example, is the better choice when it comes to availability, when it comes to sustainability, also when it comes to the cost structure. Sodium is just 1,000 times more available than lithium. That gives you an impression how much you can do in this field. And it's just more available in the different countries. You do not rely on single countries. So with this work starting in 2011 and lasting into today, this team has created a breakthrough innovation to bring the energy density of sodium-ion batteries at the same level where the lithium is. So, and you may know that lithium have different grades, different type of chemistries. We are speaking about approach with an NCM, the cobalt containing lithium, and we're also speaking about the iron phosphate, the lithium iron phosphate. Today, the sodium ion technology is equal in performance with the lithium iron phosphate technology and is directly competing with this technology. Yes, this was the way how it is going. The differentiation, of course, in when we developed this technology, we also invented other things which are beneficial for the application. It's not only that we took out the lithium, brought in sodium. No, we made the whole configuration of the battery more safe. Safety is a main driver also of Faradion, to have a safe technology. Unfortunately, we know that sodium needs special treatment, needs to be tightly controlled over the full lifetime of 10, 15 years to be really safe. And we all remember there were issues which were going back of a not really well-controlled lithium place. I don't blame them. It's just that we know that was some risk in it. And we try to make sodium-ion technology safer than the lithium. What does that mean? Yes, we are shaping the chemistry in a way which will give us not this same exposure to thermal runaways, so that our flash points are higher when the whole stuff starts to burn, this kind of thing, that we avoid that we have critical situations, that we also look into the full thing from end to end. At the beginning, when you produce a cell, lithium cell, you have to charge them up and you are not allowed to discharge them at any point. So we have developed our technology in a direction that we can discharge the sodium battery down to zero. We can recharge it, we can discharge it to zero and recharge it. So this is what we call our 0 volt technology, giving here really a capability to transport the battery cells more safe. Everybody of us knows if you go into a plane, they make you aware when you have devices with lithium ion and they have a problem, then please make aware of it. Our batteries typically get discharged to zero. So there is not this risk inherent with the battery cell at this stage. Yeah, and that allows safer transportation, easier transportation. That is also over the lifetime of the battery. When you look further into the usable life of the battery, don't be worried when it gets discharged to zero. Sometimes for certain applications, it can happen that you discharge it to zero or you would like to have it to discharge to zero and then you just recharge it. Lithium here in this place needs to be kept at a certain state of charge. So safety is also a main driver of what we are doing here. And also we are looking at the third point, that we have a technology which is able in the future to achieve the right cost. Yes, it is clear for the world that we need a lot of battery capacity to overcome the problems of the world. Battery will help to shape the energy systems of the future. So, and that will also mean we have to keep an eye on that we have the right materials, but also at the right cost. So these are the fields where sodium ion is different from lithium ion and why it is really a choice of today for several applications. It might not go into phones and laptops at the beginning, but it will go into energy storage and cars. And these are for sure the big players of the future battery world.
Well, thank you for explaining the differences so succinctly. Even I understood that. The final question from me, looking at the commerciality, the world's largest battery manufacturer, Chinese company CATL, CATL, announced they would be starting a sodium-ion production process in China, I believe in 2023. Given they supply batteries to Tesla, such a large company, how can a British startup like Faradion compete?
Yes, on one hand, it was a really good movement that we see that other ones are trying to catch up. Also, the big ones are looking into this one. Yes, it's always good not to be the only one and to be the exotic one. It's just another proof point that sodium ion will make it into the next stage. Yeah, that is just where it is. And they are coming up, the ATL is coming up with status and also performance, and also configurations, which we already have worked on, though we are not so worried about. Your question is totally right. How can we compete? Do we compete, or in which configuration do we compete? And that is a good movement at the moment. What we also see, also for the UK and also for other countries here in the Western world, there is really a change in the industry setup. Seeing that the mobility sector, the passenger cars and these kind of things are going electric, and that seems to be a decided factor in the whole passenger and the whole mobility world. We see that more and more players are really have to go into this one, especially the automotive industry in the Western world, Europe and the US is going into it. And here is also our chance. We are starting to partner with these companies who are really looking into these fields and try to make their configuration of the future. Seeing China as one of the leaders in the battery industry is probably only part of it. We totally agree that they have at the moment huge capacities running there. But we expect also in 5 years from now that the Europe and the US will have built up capacities which are really in a scale which allows to speak about its own battery industry. And that is where our chance is. CATL is one of the players. Is probably the biggest battery supplier of the world. Yes, he's proving that the technology is a future choice. That will mean also that other players in this field are looking into it. And you can imagine that number 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the automotive world is also looking into it. And that is where we kick in, where we are cooperating with the bigger players. And we know at these play, it's about getting into the right scale at a decent time. That is necessary and important for us. So we are really happy to see that other ones are picking sodium ion, and we are working also to position our technology with the right players to get it into the products, to get it into cars, to get it into energy storage.
Yeah, well answered. Yeah, no, absolutely. The more manufacturers, the better, I guess, isn't it? But just coming back to the UK here, what do you think the government can do more to help Britain to compete globally? Obviously, there's the rules of origin kicking in now with the Brexit agreement and things like that. But what can UK Gov do to help?
Yes, that's probably mainly two things, and that's probably one thing where I already see there is a lot of activities. Support everything which is on the battery side, which is on the research side, which is really on the development of materials, creating the right environment for the collaboration between the players here to develop the technology. So that is what we see with the university, if it's in Oxford here, if it's in Cambridge, if it's in Warwick. There are a lot of different choices. I cannot name all of them. But there are really things which have started, which needs to be emphasized, bring the right programs here to the table, to keep ahead of the curve when it comes to technology. That is one piece. The second piece I see here, and it's also probably have the same importance or is getting more important in the next couple of years, build the right environment, the right ecosystems to allow manufacturing, to allow that we supply the key materials which are necessary. Yeah, that is a very important factor which we have to look in, and that is really starting from attracting the right companies to set up the operations here, which are then producing materials for the battery industry. Because when you have the full supply chain set up, it just makes sense that you then also produce the battery here. It also, this is kicking into the sustainability. The UK, and the target is to get into a position where you produce the batteries more sustainable than in other places of the world. That will be the future winner. Yeah? If you compare how clean is your energy, how good do you have the access to the materials, where does they come from, what is the sustainability aspect of the full supply chain. Here, I think, keep an eye on this one and support from the government side that we really have all of these elements in place, that the UK can become the cleanest place and the most sustainable place to produce batteries in country.
Yeah, absolutely. And one would hope that they continue to do so. But Hermann, thank you so much for joining us. It's been both educational and enjoyable. Appreciate your time joining us on the podcast. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you to everybody. It was really a pleasure to be here. And thank you for both of you hosting me here.
That's fascinating, Stu. One of the more interesting guests we've had, isn't it? You know, like you say, it's difficult to try to explain these different battery technologies, but he did it, like you said, I actually understood it myself, so it must have been fairly easy to understand.
No, absolutely. And, I was reading up on it, and, you can read through pages and pages, and the way he explained it, as you say, was so clear and so easy to understand. So hopefully the listeners will appreciate it as much as we did.
Sure. And speaking of listeners, if you are listening to this, help us spread the word. Please post this podcast on social media, talk about it, spread the word. If you haven't already, download the MTD MFG app. It's in all the usual app stores, whether you're Android or Apple. So please do download it. There's lots of exclusive content on the app. It really is worth downloading. And finally, we don't have a chance to talk about all the news here on the podcast. There's far too much good news happening. But so go to mtdmfg.com. And there's new positive manufacturing news posted daily. But Stuart, there's two updates from Rolls-Royce this week.
Yeah, busy time for Rolls-Royce. So the firm's first all-electric aircraft has completed its maiden flight ahead of a world record attempt later this year. The Spirit of Innovation aircraft took off from the Ministry of Defence's Boscombe Downs site in Wiltshire and flew for approximately 15 minutes. The first flight marks the beginning of an intense testing phase for the aircraft, which is hoping to reach speeds of more than 300 miles an hour. So good luck to them. And another story with Rolls-Royce, British military jet developer Aurelius has marked a key milestone in the development of its pioneering modular military aircraft. Look at the MTD site of it. The story's on there. It's a fascinating concept. They've entered into a landmark memorandum of understanding with Rolls-Royce to meet the company's propulsion requirements. And the Suffolk-based firm estimates there's a market for up to 5,500 of its jets, which could be worth £150 billion.
Yeah, wow! If they can nail it, it will take off. Terrible, but if we can have electric planes that do decent mileage, why wouldn't you use them? I guess, but. Bentley Motors are investing in the next generation of British engineers and manufacturers. More good news from the crew-based company.
Absolutely. The luxury car makers welcomed its largest ever intake of apprentices, undergraduates and graduates, with 112 new recruits joining the 4,000-strong crew-based workforce, which is currently delivering the biggest transformational program in the luxury market's 102-year history. And this kind of underlines Bentley's transformational Beyond 100 strategic ambitions, and to help shape the company for the future. A third of these trainees actually will be working exclusively on digital innovation. So they are future-proofing the business and offering great opportunities to young people.
Yeah, now let's go from a car that you can afford to maybe a car that I can afford. Mini, they're celebrating a major production milestone again.
Yeah, seems every week. So so Mini has delivered its 1 millionth car sold in the UK since modern Mini production began in 2001. And just some stats behind this. Mini plants in Oxford and Swindon employ over 4,500 people, including 130 apprentices, who all keep production moving to build 1,000 cars a day, which is incredibly one every 67 seconds.
That's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's bonkers. I do see a lot of them on. I do see them on a lot on the road, but crikey, that 1 a minute essentially is just balmy.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola have announced a significant investment, rather.
Certainly. So this is Coca-Cola Euro Pacific Partners. I think it used to call European, the world's largest independent bottler of Coca-Cola. They've announced a £28 million investment in its manufacturing site in Sidcup, and it's coincides with the site's 60th anniversary. Nice way to celebrate. The site, which operates 10 production lines and is the only Coca-Cola site in the UK to produce 150 millilitre and 250 cans, has received this investment this year. And in total, since 2017, £118 million has been invested in the site.
Derby-based Alstom, they've got another export order. That whole area is doing particularly well, but Alstom, in particular.
Absolutely, and so the first 2 Innovia 300 monorail trains for the Cairo monorail project have arrived in Egypt after being built at Alstom's Derby factory. The dispatch of the first 8 fully automated, driverless cars, and this is out of a total of 70 trains, which will be 280 cars, is a major milestone in the multi-billion-pound project, which is sustaining hundreds of jobs in Derby and across the supply chain. The Alstom-led consortium signed the deal in August 2019 when the East Midlands factory was owned and operated by Bombardier. So great to see, and the successor. And as you say, the East Midlands, there's so much going on now with Rolls-Royce and and Alstom and so many others. It's great for the region.
Sure. And this final story, it's one that popped up on our social media last night. I'm not going to lie, it's a concept, a product I hadn't come across before. Maybe my age is against me, but what can you tell us about the Mini Moke? Is what I would call it.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's Moke or Moke. I call it Moke, but I'm sure our listeners will correct me. So the revived vehicle will be built entirely in the UK following a new agreement with manufacturer Fablink. The original car in the 60s was popularised by the likes of the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Bridget Bardot even, and it was an absolute icon in that decade. The original mini-based beach buggies were made in Birmingham between 64 and 68 before production moved abroad and then finally ended in 93. And then having acquired the Moke trademark and global distribution rights in 2017, Moke International began reviving the soft top. And since its relaunch in 2020, the Moke has been engineered in Britain but manufactured or assembled in France. But going forward, all Mokes will now be built a state-of-the-art facility operated by UK automotive company Fablink Group. So reshoring, new jobs and investment. So my favourite story of the week by far, I must admit.
Yeah, no, it's a good one, isn't it? It is a good one, and the pictures there's some nice photography on the post. But that's another good story if you want to go and read it again on mtdmfg.com. But Stu, we've run out of time. Again, there's plenty more to talk about on mtdmfg.com. Please go and take a look. If you haven't downloaded the app, please do so, because there's lots more than we get time to discuss on this podcast, unfortunately. Big thank you to Hermann, our guest. Stuart, thank you to you. But as always, the biggest thank you goes to you at home for taking time out of your busy day and listening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Great British Manufacturing Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and a review. You can find us on Twitter using @MTDMFG and @Jefferson_MFG.